All right. Now we're going to talk about a province in China that's called Xinjiang. It's called Xinjiang in Mandarin or in Chinese. Uh, in certain parts of the world, it's known as East Turkestan. It's the biggest province in China. It's right here. Uh, it is mostly a desert province. Here is the name of the province or of the territory. It essentially says the Republic of East Turkestan in Uyghur, which is the language and the ethnic populace that live there. um, in Chinese is called Xinjiang, uh, like it is spelled there. Um, Xinjiang is kind of one of the most controversial, especially recently, places in China. So what you see here are Uyghur. So again, Uyghur are ethnically people from Xinjiang. Um, so since 2017, possibly as many as 2 million, I've seen as high as 3 million Uyghurs have been arrested and placed in re-education camps where they essentially have to learn about the Chinese government. They have to learn about the Chinese constitution. They have to learn the Chinese anthem. They have to learn the Chinese language because most people here do not speak Chinese. They speak Weiwei, which is kind of like Turkish. Um, but it is a place where people are charged with crimes for growing a beard. People are charged with crimes for leaving the back door of their house because the Chinese government is so suspicious of people here. They're charged with crimes for going to mosque too much because almost everybody here is Muslim. So they believe in Islam, and the Chinese government considers that a threat. So 11 million people live here. I said almost 2 million people, possibly as many as 3 million people are in prison camps. And so that's, we're talking 20 to 30% of the population are in prison in this region or in this province. So once they get arrested and go to the camps, and again, they can get arrested for things like growing a beard or going to a mosque, they have to pledge loyalties to the Communist Party of China. They have to denounce Islam. So they have to say they won't be Muslims anymore. They have to learn Mandarin. So they have to learn the language of the Han Chinese. And they have to name other people that they live around or that they know that they think are disloyal to the government. So it's a very, very, very crazy place. And if you pay attention to any sort of international news, I guarantee you'll see a lot of stuff about Xinjiang on the news, um, and rightfully so. Here is a picture of Tianshan, which is it's essentially the heavenly lake or the heavenly mountain lake. Um, Xinjiang is the most beautiful place I've ever been in the entire world. It is absolutely stunning, and the people there were very, very nice. And in fact, I've told my classes this when I lived in China, because I spoke Mandarin with an accent. I guess it was different than an American accent, but it was still an accent. And so people couldn't quite figure out where I'm from. And I look kind of like Uyghurs, and especially when I have a tan. So I would just say, if because in China, a lot of people just want to talk to a foreigner and they want to talk your ear off and take pictures and stuff. So if I didn't want the attention, I would just say, I'm not a foreigner. I'm from Xinjiang. And almost all the time, there was only one time where a guy didn't believe me. But yeah, I love this place. Here you see some bad stuff that happened there. This is in 2009. This is right before I went there. There were riots in Xinjiang because they were protesting the Chinese government and some of the laws that they put in place there. And so in Urumqi, the capital of Xinjiang, you had huge riots that shut down the whole city for weeks. They shut off the internet for a month, um, where lots and lots of people died. Just it was just Uyghurs fighting Han Chinese people on the streets, and it was a very, very bad scene. And things have gotten a lot worse in Xinjiang since. Um, yeah, I mean, it's just not a good scene. But similar to Tibet, the Chinese government is trying to get lots of Han Chinese people to move there. Xinjiang is very important to China because it has lots of oil there. And so they're trying to sort of get rid of the Uyghur influence or the Muslim influence there, and trying to maintain control of the oil. So when you go to Xinjiang, you see lots of oil people, and so that means lots of Russians, lots of Han Chinese, but it's all about oil there. Here are some pictures of Xinjiang. Like I said, it's in the desert, so you see camels. The Great Wall of China goes into Xinjiang and it ends there. That's the end of the Great Wall of China. You see lots of mosques because they're all essentially Muslim. Um, and there were lots of army outposts and desert checkpoints. When I was living in China and when I went there, it was the most heavily policed place in the entire world, is what they would say. But I'm not sure if that's true because my friends and I, when we were on buses and going through checkpoints, we would always play a game where we'd switch passports, and we don't look anything alike. Some of my friends have long blonde hair, and we'd switch passports, and they wouldn't notice. I think they were just interested to see a American passport or a British passport or whatever. Um, but it is a very scary place to live if you're a Uyghur. Um, So again, should Xinjiang be an independent country? What the Chinese government would say is that we've given these people resources. We have given them better infrastructure. They have better roads now. They have access to a little bit better health care, and the government provides for people as long as they're willing to go along with the government. The downside to that is, like I said, you have millions of people in education camps or re-education camps. You have people who are not allowed to practice their religion or say what they want. So yeah, I guess check out some of these links. If you have any questions, let me know and I'll do the best I can to answer them.